Mayday, 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 Coast Guard, help, help, Coast Guard, we're going down. These are just a few of many words used by boaters when in distress. In 2007, the crew of the Coast Guard Cutter 4 was on patrol on the northern side of Haiti and the Dominican Republic. They received a phone call from Coast Guard Sector Miami, Florida, saying that the Dominican Republic Coast Guard requested their assistance in the search and rescue of a fishing vessel that had been out for over 2 days on a one-day fishing trip. The crew searched from the shoreline to 20 miles offshore for 1 week straight and eventually found 22 fishermen, including the vessel's captain. When a Coast Guard member asked the captain what had happened, he responded with, "I thought my boat could handle it. It wasn't that rough." If you're either an operator or a passenger on board a vessel cruising inland or offshore, safety should be your main concern. Weather, weight, fatigue, overconfidence, showboating, and not having the proper safety equipment can ultimately not only hurt you, but your family and friends as well. I joined the Coast Guard in 2006 and was stationed on board the Coast Guard Cutter 4 from 2006 to 2008. The story I share with you was my personal story. That was my very first search and rescue case inside the Coast Guard in my Coast Guard career. Since then, I have conducted over 100 courtesy safety inspections, participated in over 50 safety classes, and took part in saving over 45 lives. I would like to enlighten and educate all operators and passengers of vessels to practice safety boating skills. Being knowledgeable in some general boating safety habits and tips and items required by federal law can only save not only your life but your passengers and your family lives as well. I'll be discussing how and who can do a vessel safety inspection properly, the overall safety of all persons involved in recreational boating will be covered, and everyone will have some general boating safety knowledge. Boater safety is a disregarded tool that could ultimately save your life. According to the United States Coast Guard, every 2.5 hours, someone is either killed or injured in a boating accident. Just having some form of training in boater safety and having the proper PFDs, personal flotation devices, on board, Coast Guard approved, can save you and your passenger's life. The Coast Guard has held multiple surveys throughout the years, and the results show that 42.6% of boat handlers have actually had some form of boating class. The remaining 63.4% of boaters consider themselves to be very experienced. Now, boating accidents attributed to operator error, poor judgment, and inexperience, and are shown to be 56.9% of people being surveyed. Now, 63.4% of the very experienced boaters have been in a form of a boating accident. Ensuring your vessel's gear on board is in good working order and is reliable in the state of emergency is a big safety concern. When preparing to go out on a fun day on the water, one of the main things you should do is go out and check the service engine or your service schedule of your boat's engine. You don't want to get stranded out at sea and pretty much have a horrible day because you didn't check your engine's life. Data collected by the U.S. Coast Guard show that persons involved in the boating accident while wearing a life jacket have a 1 in 66 chance in drowning. Now, people not wearing a life jacket have a 1 in 11 chance in drowning. Having the proper amount of Coast Guard approved life jackets on board your vessel in working order for adults and children is required by law and a great way to practice safety. If your vessel is over 16 feet in length and you're going offshore, you're required to have some sort of visual distress signal, which would be a flare. Flares do have expiration dates. Check them before you go out to sea and make sure they're in operating order. It's not required on boats operating in waters to have visual distress signals, but it is recommended to have it and is the best practice. Not saying flares, but you have a flashlight, a lantern, something that produces a light at night, and during the day they recommend flags, hand signals, and also a mirror. Having a sound producing device on every vessel is required by law, no matter the length. It could be a canoe to a center console to a yacht. Sound producing device required by law. Okay. Navigation lights are very important in transiting at nighttime and in restricted visibility such as fog, rain, and from sunset to sunrise. Nav lights that are required by law is one 360-degree white light on top of your boat or on the stern. Then on your right side, on your starboard side, you need one green light. On your left side, your port side, you need a red light. The Coast Guard and the Coast Guard Auxiliary offer vessel safety inspection handbooks, boater safety training, and vessel inspections, all free of charge and open to the public. For a free vessel safety inspection, on top of your own inspection, is probably one of the best practices before you go on the water. The Coast Guard Auxiliary offers a variety of safety classes, including basic beginner boating courses, safety courses, navigation, sailing, personal watercraft safety, and general seamanship. You can check with your local Coast Guard unit in your area for more information, times, and dates, and for a location. Okay, today I went over just some of the topics that I found overlooked constantly by the average and or experienced mariner. The statistics don't lie in the case of the boater safety. You may have grown up on the water your entire life and consider yourself an experienced boater, but you can also cause an accident and be in distress. In my 7 years in the Coast Guard, while conducting over 100 vessel safety inspections, I have noticed the common overlooked items and decided to share them with you today. And I hope to save your life in an emergency. Before going out on the water and having fun, don't assume that the vessel you had for 15 years is still in the same working order from the day you bought it. Look over it, double check it, have a safe voyage. That's all you want to do. Just one more thing before I close today. One other major thing is drinking and boating. It is punishable by law, and Coast Guard members, law enforcement members, all maritime law enforcement members are looking out for offenders. It is the same thing as a DUI. It could affect your personal life, and something just to be safe about. Have a sober boater driving the entire time. Okay, thank you for your time today. Practice safe boating. Have a safe voyage. Go to coastguard.com, to uscg.mil, uscg.com, uscg.org. Find everything you can on there. This is where I got all this information. Vessel Safety Check Manual, Commandant Instruction M16796.8. I know it's a long number, but that's where I got my information from. Thank you for listening. Have a good night.